Okay, so hi, we are Package Pals, and today we'll be presenting on the topic of packaging waste. So just before we start, please feel free to flood the chat with any questions that you may have. We'll try to answer your questions in chat since we only have a limited amount of time for Q&A at the end of this presentation. And before we start, we would like to introduce ourselves. So I'm Rachel Lee, I'm the one on the far right. I'm a co-founder of Package Pals.
I'm Rachel Han, and I'm the other co-founder. I'm the one on the left.
Hello, I'm Puan Xin. I'm the one in the middle and I manage publicity for Package Pals.
So first, to set us off, here is a fun but scary fact about packaging waste in Singapore to highlight how prevalent this problem has become. Do note that this statistic includes food packaging, for example, your bubble tea cups and bubble tea straws, but it also includes packaging such as postal packaging like paper envelopes, polymailers, bubble wrap, things that come with your products when you purchase them. And as you can see from the slightly alarming statistic, packaging makes up a third of Singapore's domestic waste, which is really a huge figure. So here's an introduction to the issue of packaging waste. As we may all know, given the recent context, in recent years, the e-commerce industry has grown significantly in size, and the waste produced by this industry has really become a pressing environmental issue. So usually when you order your items, I'm sure all of us are aware that it usually comes in polymailers. Polymailers like plastic packaging that your mail comes in, boxes, bubble wrap, styrofoam. These are other packaging materials that come delivered with your items, and all of these are disposable and harmful to the environment. And it causes a tremendous amount of waste and is a huge issue, as shown by the newspaper clippings. And especially in light of 11/11 and Black Friday, which has just concluded, or actually is still ongoing, maybe you can just think about all the packages ordered by your household, and how much packaging was accumulated from those hauls alone. Then we have to multiply that by half of the households in Singapore, given the prevalence of e-commerce, in order to get a picture of just how much packaging waste is being produced in Singapore alone. And that's just in Singapore. This is actually a global issue. And most of this packaging won't even be recycled, as it may not even be possible to. Another fun fact is that polymailers actually cannot be recycled in Singapore's blue bins. So please don't dispose your polymailers in the blue bins. Yep. Instead, many of these packaging is often like sent to our landfill instead of recycled or repurposed. And sadly, this problem will definitely be worsening during the festive season, given the amount of gifts ordered and delivered during the festive period. In addition, something that makes packaging waste even worse is that a popular Christmas tradition is to wrap presents for our loved ones, which, if you think about it, is really quite unnecessary. And this statistic here, which is 25%, is the amount of trash that is thrown away. The great It's like the increase in trash thrown away by Americans during the holiday season. And while this is like a figure specific to America, we suspect that it's probably also the case in Singapore. So our project was founded in May this year to address this problem. We noticed that people were concerned about the effects of e-commerce waste and that there was a demand for used packaging, especially from businesses. And therefore, we are hoping to bridge the gap between consumers and sellers. So what we do is that we advocate for a circular packaging system that focuses on the values of reduce and reuse. And members of the public can basically donate their packaging to us. And in turn, we will try to distribute it to businesses looking for greener packaging options and provide a centralized source of used packaging for them rather than having them source for it themselves. So how it works is that members of the public, such as yourself, can pass packaging to us via monthly meetups, or have them mailed to our address. And we also have like various drop-off points island-wide, and you can also like deposit your packaging there. And once collected, we conduct quality checks and remove any personal details from the packaging, and then we will pass it to sellers who sign up to receive our packaging. So far, we've worked with businesses of various sizes, from small home-based businesses to larger companies, and the sellers have been satisfied with the experience. So this really goes to show that we are quite, and we have tried to reach out to like many industries and are trying to like, yeah, we are trying to expose ourselves to more industries.
So to understand how to better encourage others to adopt secondhand packaging, we need to understand why it's so important to businesses and consumers. So aside from its key function to contain or protect products, many businesses use it to strengthen their branding. And various elements aside from material would be color design and graphics that are all taken into consideration when designing packaging. So for example, brands that have iconic packaging include Glossier, IKEA with their blue bags, and Sephora with their black and white stripes. Nice packaging can present an added value and even influence customers to buy a product. As a result, our attitudes towards packaging has shifted from it serving a largely protective function to it actually being a reflection of product quality. Research has even shown that unusual packaging shapes and colors can evoke adverse reactions among customers. Especially during Christmas, we look for products with nice packaging because they seem more giftable. Gift wrap, as well, as Rachel Lee mentioned, is a way to show that the item inside is special, which is actually a practice that dates back all the way to the Victorian era. Research also shows that recipients are more positively inclined towards gifts they receive if they are wrapped. Some possible reasons for this might be because it turns an otherwise impersonal object into a personal gift, or because of the added anticipation from unwrapping it. However, either ways, the gift wrap industry is huge, and so is the amount of waste it produces, especially during like this holiday season. At the same time, we see growing concerns about environmental issues, especially waste, worldwide. Through our platform as well, we've heard from many others who agree that packaging waste is a growing problem and something that we can observe all around us in our daily lives. So, how can we balance increasing customer expectations and our common goal to minimize environmental impact in our daily lives? It definitely does take a conscious effort. And so we have some tips. The first is to look for green certification on packaging, such as the one on the right. And also, in a broader sense, try to be aware of common marketing strategies and how you're influenced by them. For example, special edition packaging or sale offers such as buy one, get one 50% off that encourages you to buy more. Try to look out for and identify excessive packaging as well. For example, individually wrapped items or mini products such as travel products or items with many layers of packaging, because they may be pretty or they may, I guess, serve some practicality, like practical functions, but do we really need them? And are we going to throw these packagings away after they're open? Those are some questions that we should ask ourselves as well. So while the first tip was to look out for green certification, and while this can help us make better choices, we should also try to be aware of cues on a product's packaging, which links to a larger topic that we want to touch on, which is greenwashing. Greenwashing is when a business markets its products and services as being environmentally friendly, but does not actually put in work to counter the negative environmental impact of its actions, thus misleading customers into thinking that it's a sustainable brand. So a company may use visuals and words to portray a green image. For example, in the picture above, you can see that natural imagery like the flowers and the color green are used, as well as words like natural and literally green, which might lead you to think that it's a more sustainable, and it's common environmental marketing. However, this might not actually align with the product's actual impact on the environment, whether in the manufacturing process, the packaging they use, or the product itself. So a lot of this marketing targets eco-conscious consumers, but may not actually portray their commitment to environmental issues, which is something the common consumer may not know without proper research. A larger example will also be H&M, which has received a lot of criticism for greenwashing. So I think we all know that they came up with a sustainable fashion line called H&M Conscious, and they also promote their clothing recycling bins in stores. However, many critics say that the clothing in these bins aren't actually recycled, as seen in the picture above. Furthermore, those actions don't address H&M's overall negative impact as a mass market fast fashion brand, which disposes large amounts of toxic chemicals and massive quantities of unsold clothes in landfills and water bodies regularly. Because the environment and our health are so closely related, as a consumer, we should try to fact check and do our research before buying into such marketing strategies. So there are a few questions you can ask yourself before making a purchase based off green marketing. For example, you can look into the business selling an item, selling the item that you would like to buy, or if you're looking for a specific product, you can try to do research to find the best possible option. For example, if you're looking to buy a phone case, maybe research into whether compostable phone cases are really more environmentally friendly. It's important to take into account local context as well. For example, in Singapore, we don't have a lot of compost like facilities, and a lot of products that are marketed as compostable actually require industrial facilities. Thus, they might still end up in landfills anyways, or will be incinerated. Many businesses also pride themselves in using paper over plastic packaging. However, we actually did some research on this topic because we were interested in it ourselves, and we published an infographic on our Instagram that you can check out. So the conclusion that we came to is that plastic isn't always our worst enemy, but that also doesn't mean that it's good for the environment. And ultimately, minimizing the resources we use, whether paper or plastic, is the best option. Anyways, this is just an example of how misconceptions and beliefs can be exploited by businesses, and is something that we should all try to be mindful of.
Okay, so moving on, we'll now talk about some tips that we can have when we're shopping mindfully, not just in this Christmas season, but also throughout the year. So here are some questions that we would like you guys to consider before you make any purchase. So whether you really need the item, how often you'll use it, and perhaps if you'll use it for a substantial period of time. In the case of getting a gift for your family or your friends, you can help them consider these as well. The second tip we will give is to actually use gift cards or gift vouchers as a form of Christmas gift, because we all have instances where we find it difficult to figure out what a friend may like or would want to receive. So this will give autonomy to the receiver, who can decide what they want to do with the voucher. So in this way, you're not wasting any resources by purchasing something that your friend may already have, or something that they may not even end up using. Okay, and then we also like to employ our audience to consider local, ethical, and sustainable goods. So something that we really hope everyone can try to do would be to support our local businesses. So some of our favorites would be the Sustainability Project and Wellness Within. These two are local stores that sell sustainable goods like lifestyle products. So yeah, they are some of our partners as well. So we really hope that people can consider purchasing gifts from them. The Fashion Pulpit is a sustainable fashion brand, so they sell second-hand fashion items. Nice, it is a local store which has knickknacks with a local twist. Okay, in particular, we have small businesses as well who also opt for greener packaging in terms of what they mail out. So under our highlight, so we have a PALS highlight where we have businesses who share tips and tricks on how they are opting for greener forms of packaging. So they share it onto their Instagram story, and then we will repost it and put it under our highlight. So you can check them out there. Otherwise, we also have our tagged posts. So people who tag us in their posts, and these people tend to be businesses who opt for greener packaging from us. So they buy packaging from us, and then they will feature it onto their Instagram page. So you can check them out over there. Our third tip would be to buy secondhand over brand new items, because it's always better to purchase something that already exists, and essentially you're giving new life to an item that may otherwise be of no use to the previous owner. So Carousel sells a wide variety of such items, and that's an online platform. But if you prefer physical retail stores, there are many like thrift stores around Singapore, especially with like the recent hype surrounding thrifting. We have a lot of thrift stores in Lucky Plaza, and the one on the right is New to You. It's located somewhere near town. Yeah. Okay, and then for more tips, you can always refer to our Instagram post. So we did a post called Reducing Waste When Shopping Online, and over there we shared small tips and tricks on how you can reduce your e-commerce waste, especially in terms of packaging. So here's a quick glance at some of them. So at the shopping cart, we should try to check our items all at once, because hopefully by then the companies will pack your items together instead of putting them separately into different poly mailers or different boxes. So by checking them out at once, it avoids your items being individually packed and delivered. And always opt for ground and slow delivery because it takes up less manpower and resources compared to air-flown products. After receive your packaging, if you have no other use for the polymailers, bubble wrap, wrappers, or paper envelopes, you can choose to donate them to us. So we take in only certain types of packaging, which you can check under our pages. But you can also check our resource matching sheet. Our resource matching sheet is an initiative that we launched. So it's essentially an Excel sheet where businesses list out items that they want to collect from the general public. So normally these are alternative types of packaging that we do not offer to businesses. So our audience can actually reach out to these businesses directly. Something that you can also consider would be to give feedback and review to businesses that overpack your items. So for example, they use like a very large box just to put your very small item inside. So that's overpacking, and you can try to feedback them, email them, let them know that you'd like them to review their packaging policy.
So now that you've gotten your present for your friends, you might want to think about how to package it in a way that causes the least waste. As we mentioned earlier, we prioritize reduce and reuse over recycling since less resources are used in the process and products are also kept in the system longer. So that's something that you can try to keep in mind when you're choosing your packaging. You might also want to limit the use of new resources. So instead of going out to buy wrapping paper, try to use what you have. An idea is to keep the ribbons and other decorations from gifts for your own use, or otherwise you can use newspapers or other paper material that you have on hand to wrap your gifts. And also, I think something that people might not consider is that plastic tape does produce a lot of added waste. So another alternative that you can consider would be glue. Also, it's quite important to think about the end life of your products. And instead of trashing wrapping paper, it can be repurposed for many things. And this also goes for the packaging that you're giving people. And you can try to think about what they might also use it for and if they would throw it away immediately after receiving it. And for this, you can think about plastic or paper bags maybe to package your gifts rather than wrapping them because they can be reused after their initial usage. And as mentioned earlier, we have an infographic on paper versus plastic on our Instagram. It might help with your packaging choice, so if you're interested, feel free to check it out and make your own informed decisions. To wrap things up, sorry for the pun, it wasn't my idea. We would like to inform you that gift wrapping paper with foil or lamination cannot currently be recycled and shouldn't be placed in the blue recycling bins. We actually emailed NEA about this, and this is the official response that we got. We're not able to comment on the effectiveness of the scrunch test as a general rule. For those of you who may not know, it's like whether if like depending on whether wrapping paper can be scrunched or not, it can be placed in the recycling bin. But we would advise that only wrapping paper that is homogeneous, which means that it is made of, it is only made of one material source and is free of decorative materials such as glitter, metals, or is otherwise textured, should be placed in the blue bins. And this would include craft paper or like just plain white paper. Yeah. So do share this with your friends and be mindful of the wrapping paper that you buy. And with that, we've come to the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for letting us share this time with you. And we'd also like to thank Delegate for giving us the opportunity to present. And if you do have any questions that we don't manage to answer, please do like DM us on Instagram or Facebook or even email us. Thank you.
Okay, so
sorry. We're just gonna say that we're gonna answer some of these live. One just came in, but maybe we can tackle like the how we can donate your used packaging to us. Rachel, would you like to go?
Right, okay. So you can donate used packaging to us via mailing, meetups, and drop-off. So our mailing and drop-off point options are available month-long. And for meetups, I think they're currently open, but they're closing soon. So you can refer to our link tree. Puan Xin sent the link. It's linktr.ee/packagepals. And yeah, we also have, if you want to receive packaging from us, you can also refer to this link. And we also have a bulk order option if businesses would like to receive larger quantities of packaging from us. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add?
I think there was one more question. I can't see it now though.
Okay, so the question is how the project got started.
So actually me and Rachel Han didn't know each other before this. but we were selling clothes on Instagram, like a lot of teenage girls our age recently, and then we decided that, oh, I wanted to source for like secondhand packaging because I noticed that a lot of like thrift store sellers were using it, and she was also looking for a way to recycle her old polymailers, and we were both in a chat, an environmental Telegram group chat. And then she asked a question about how to recycle polymailers, and I told her that I was looking for some, and that if she was interested in giving them to me, like she could PM me. And then we started PMing, and then we realized that maybe we can like build a centralized system where we give polymailers to sellers, and we really weren't intending to like monetize it at first until like further along the road, like some people like advised us to. Yeah, and Puan Xin was my batchmate in JC. She we were like acquainted, but we weren't very familiar with each other. And we sent out like a announcement that we were looking for a publicity director to help us with like visuals, and she decided to like come together. Yeah.
Yeah. Like originally also one idea that I had was to recycle it, but that's how we found out that they weren't recyclable by the blue bins, because we contacted NEA and we also contacted a few like private recycling companies. There's also a question, will we be accepting larger packaging in the future, like in terms of size?
And what do you mean by larger packaging? Currently we have like polymailers, padded polymailers, bubble wrap, yeah, and they all come in like, some of them come in pretty big sizes when they're donated to us, especially the bubble wrap.
Yeah. Generally for polymailers, we try not to make it too big, but for large padded and bubble wrap, we don't really have a size limit. Yeah. Hope that answered your question.